Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Congresswoman Lee.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Chair and Ranking Member for this hearing. Welcome, Madam Secretary. Madam Secretary, you remember Steve Bannon, right? Steve Bannon indicated that the Trump administration's goal was to deconstruct the administrative state. And each cabinet official who comes to this committee presents budget that really reflect that agenda. And your budget reflects what exactly Steve Bannon said: privatizing public education, getting rid of the public sector, turning it over to the corporations and the private sector to ensure the quality public education that our young people deserve. And it's outrageous. Your cuts here specifically target students of color. It's unbelievable, low-income students. And I just have to say, Madam Secretary, you have zeroed out Special Olympics once again. I still can't understand why you would go after disabled children in your budget. You zero that out. It's appalling. I want to ask you a couple of things, which again reflects exactly what I just said. 2 years ago, I wrote into the language into the bill about school desegregation. The language asked for a report from your department in coordination with the Office of Civil Rights to submit to this committee detailing recommendations on how to address the adverse impacts of segregation, including 6 school monitors to ensure that every student has the opportunity for an equal education. Madam Secretary, this letter came, we wrote it June 7th. We've called, we've asked for this report, we've tried to reach you over and over again. We've never received a response. I wonder where this report is. Could you let us know when this report will be coming to the committee? It's about students of color, it's about school desegregation efforts.
Congresswoman, yes, I'm aware of that request and that report, and I know it's near completion, and I commit to you that we will get that to you as soon as feasible.
Madam Secretary, this is almost 2 years. We've been waiting. These kids deserve, and the school district deserve, an answer from our Secretary of Education. We can't wait 2 years to get a report on school desegregation from you. It shouldn't be that hard to do, and the response has been awful in terms of trying to get some sense of timing and why this has been delayed. Next, let me ask you about the school disciplinary practices that impact Black and Latino students. According to data released by the Department of Ed's Office of Civil Rights, Black K-12 students and Latino students are 3 times likely to be suspended or expelled as their white peers. But now the Federal Commission on School Safety, which you chair, eliminated the 2014 school discipline guidance, which ensured that students of color are not subject to harsher disciplinary practices than their white peers. The guidance provided valuable resources for districts. It provided continuous, vigorous federal oversight and enforcement of our civil rights laws to make sure that students' civil rights are upheld. 75 civil rights groups wrote to you in January expressing opposition to the rescission of this guidance. Why in the world blame, and I understand what the rationale was, blaming school shootings, the tragic gun violence that has taken place throughout the country, on the civil rights protections for students of color? It doesn't make any sense why that was part of this rescission. Can you explain that?
Well, Congresswoman, no child should be treated or disciplined differently based on his or her race or color or national origin. And if and when they are, our Office for Civil Rights will act swiftly, has acted swiftly. Children need to be treated as individuals.
But they're not being treated as individuals. That's why we had this order put in place. And you rescinded that.
Again, any student that is treated or disciplined differently because of his or her color or race,
Madam Secretary,
the
Department of Civil Rights, your own Department of Education, Office of Civil Rights, indicated that students of color are suspended 3 times more than white students. We put into place some requirements that would begin to turn this around. You rescinded those requirements. So again, what message does this send to school districts?
No student should be treated or disciplined differently
But
based
Madam
on their
Secretary, they
race.
are treated differently. They are treated differently.
No, if they are, it's discrimination.
Well, then
The
why
Office
in the
for
world
Civil
would you
Rights and the Office for
rescind
Civil Rights,
the orders that would correct for this?
the letter amounted to quotas. Children are individuals. They're
Madam
not
Secretary,
a statistic.
this didn't involve quotas. This gave direction on how to correct this horrible problem that we have throughout the country. You go to any community of color where you have schools that are with minimal resources, provide the best education they can, and you will see what is taking place. So this did not amount to quotas. This amounted to providing those tools and guidance to make sure that students' civil rights are protected. And you rescinded that.
Every community needs to be able to handle their classrooms and discipline in the way that works for them. And if
Madam Secretary, thank God we
if
had
a
Brown
child-
versus Board of Education. The
and
federal
if a
government
child
gave
is
us a
treated
chance.